We're a little nonprofit, otherwise known as NEO-AHEC, and we're all about growing our own health professionals in our region. And one of our main programs that we offer, it will actually be in its 27th year this June, is called MedQuest Health Career Exploration Camp. And it's a camp open to students around Oregon. Around 35 are accepted each year. And these are students who already have a demonstrated interest in the healthcare field, whether they want to be a nurse or a podiatrist or a doctor or a psychologist, you name it. It's for any student who has a heart for serving others and in the medical field, healthcare field. So one of the main components of camp is the job shadowing piece. So while students are here, they shadow usually 3 health providers, whether they're at the hospital or one of the clinics in town, be it a physical therapy clinic or animal health clinic, just wherever we can place students to expand their knowledge about the options in healthcare, because that's really the point of camp, is showing students what else is out there. We also have lots of interactive activities with current health providers, like panel discussions, and I've seen students doing fun activities like putting IVs in chicken legs before, getting some hands-on clinical experience. Students get to tour the Life Flight base in the Grande and see what it's like to be a flight nurse. They get to check out the OHSU School of Nursing in the Grande and do some awesome activities in the simulation labs that nursing students get to use every day. Just lots of activities like that. Students also get to do lots of recreation, so they can go rock climbing on the EOU campus, they can have movie nights, whatever we can do to make it fun while they're also learning. And part of the interesting and unique thing about camp is that they are all students who are interested in kind of the same field. These are all students who have hearts for service, hearts for helping others through healthcare. And it's interesting because students have never met each other, but within usually a couple hours of camp, they act like they've known each other for their whole lives, just because they have such an innate connection with each other. And that's something that you don't get at every summer camp. And another unique aspect of camp is that it shows students not just what their likes are in the healthcare field, but it also shows them what they dislike. So a student might come to camp gung-ho about nursing. They have always wanted to be a nurse, they love the idea of nursing, but then they have one of their job shadows with a nurse and see that that really isn't something for them, that the tasks don't really appeal to them. Maybe they don't like dealing with blood or the hygiene aspect of it. And then they go to another job shadow while they're here at, say, Mountain Valley Therapy, and they just fall in love with the idea of sports medicine or physical therapy and decide that that's where they want to spend their time and effort trying to pursue something like that. So the application for MedQuest is currently open, and the deadline is March 14th by midnight. And this is open to high school students in Oregon in grades 9 through 12. And we will review applications after that date. And the actual camp will take place from June 16th through 21st on the EOU campus and surrounding community. Another really unique aspect of camp is that students actually get to try out college life for a week. So students get to stay on the EOU campus in the dorms, and they get to eat in the cafeteria for several meals and tour the college campus and just have independence for the week before they ever actually are enrolled in higher education. So this is a really big draw for students who have only lived at home and haven't been able to experience something like that. So that's another reason, plus another reason I would encourage students to attend. We're going to hire 2 camp directors who are going to manage the camp for the week, and they're going to provide a lot of structure and guidance for the students, and we'll also have a really great team of counselors who will keep the students in line, take them where they need to go, and provide ample supervision, make sure that students have all the support that they need during their week away from home. June will actually mark the camp's 27th anniversary. Yes, so it's a really long-running program in our community, and it has gotten so much support from different health organizations in the community, from the hospital. It really just is such a unique collaborative initiative that we're so excited to continue to offer. One person who came to the camp, one of the very first years that it was offered, was John Comby, and he is a local massage therapist, and he has gone on to work on Olympic athletes and has really made a name for himself in the massage therapy field. And I don't know if you would say that MedQuest Camp was a deal breaker about whether or not he wanted to pursue the field that he's pursuing, but it was definitely one more thing to prepare him for his future and to help make some great connections. So camp is $400 for the week, and this includes all lodging and meals and everything students will need for the week, outside of their clothing and necessities that they need to bring. But students shouldn't let this scare them away from applying, because we do have plenty of scholarship opportunities available. So when students go online to our website, www.neoahec.org, they can go to our application, and there's a question that asks if they have a scholarship need. And if they do have a financial barrier, they just need to click yes, and we'll follow up with a separate scholarship application that will help us secure assistance for them if they're accepted to camp. And those range from partial scholarships to full scholarships, and we're really flexible about that aspect of camp. We don't want anyone to miss out just because of their inability to pay. Students statewide can apply, but we do give preference to students in our 11-county region, and go to our website to see the full list of those. So basically, if you're from Eastern Oregon, we do give you preference. About, I would say, 60 to 75% of the students generally come from our side of the state, but we do love to have students interact with those from elsewhere, just so they can get to know different cultures. Apply, don't miss out on your chance to participate in this great opportunity. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to contact me. We'll have my contact information available, so hit me up, ask me anything, and I'll do what I can to make the process easier for you.
So I'm Cade Gorham. I'm a college freshman here at Eastern. I was a high school student at Embler and was a member of the MedQuest program 2 years ago and participated in that, and then was lucky enough to be able to go back as a counselor the next year. And I was really grateful for that. I loved the MedQuest program. I kind of always knew that I wanted to be in the medical field. Growing up in high school, I'd done a lot of job shadowing. My dad was a physical therapist here in town, and for a long time I thought I wanted to do that. And then I decided I wanted to go into the medical field and do more like the med school approach, become a doctor. And so that was what I was convinced I was going to do. And I was convinced I was going to do radiology going into MedQuest. And so that's what I got to do as a job shadow there. And showed up for my radiology, showed up and met the radiologist. We went into a dark room for 2 hours and looked at x-rays and decided I never wanted to do that again. I loved the science behind it. I loved being able to talk to patients and think about, because I'd broken my leg in sports and all of that. So I loved the whole MRI, x-ray, being able to fix that. But I knew that radiology wasn't for me, just sitting in a dark room examining a picture over picture and never actually getting to see the patient. And so I was really grateful for MedQuest being able to teach me that and show me that that wasn't my career and that I didn't have to go through 12 years of schooling to figure that out. And so I also got to job shadow an orthopedic surgeon, and that was really fascinating to me. It had more of the patient care that I wanted, being able to go to my different patients and treat them and actually have face-to-face. And so that was something that really intrigued me. And I think that MedQuest really allowed me to see all these different opportunities. That's one of the coolest things to me about it, is that you get more than just one opportunity. You know, if you go somewhere else, you might only get one job shadow, and they're like, this is what you get. You do this for 3 days, but you don't get to see a wide variety of everything that they're going to show you. I had kids last year that were in my group as a counselor that went from orthopedic surgeon to veterinary care to eye doctor in 3 days. And so they got to see almost everything that you could imagine as far as the medical field. And I think a lot of kids get caught up in the fact that if you want to be in the medical field, you have to be a doctor. There's nothing else that's the medical field. And so they kind of get their eyes open to the fact that you can be your own entrepreneur and open up a clinic yourself of physical therapy or become a vet. You don't have to go to med school and work at a big hospital to be what you might want to be as far as patient care. Being with the orthopedic surgeon, I always imagined them being, you just went in and did their surgery, like you never met the patient really. And for me, it was all about meeting the patients, like getting that connection of being able to help people. That's why I knew I always wanted to be into the medical field. And so getting to actually meet each patient, he goes around and just does rounds like every day and meets up to like 15 patients a day and gets to just check in on them and see how they're doing. And I thought that was really cool of him, and like the job and actually being able to go and meet each person individually. I know I had a couple of kids that weren't in my group last year, but they came back and they were just super giddy, like smiled from ear to ear, because they got to go to the profession that they wanted to go to. And it just confirmed that they did, like they're going into what they want to do. And a lot of times it seemed it was either nursing or veterinary, like the classic, I want to be a nurse or I want to be a vet when I grow up. And it was those kids that solidified they knew what they wanted to do when they were older. And it was just really amazing to me to see that they came back and they knew what they were doing, and they just had this biggest smile on their face because they got to experience what they've wanted to do since they were 4 years old, and they got to do it themselves. You know, a lot of those practitioners are like the vets out there. They just hand you a pair of gloves and they're like, hey, this is what you're going to do for the day. They really throw you in to make sure you experience everything and make sure that you get that opportunity to see if you want to enjoy it, because you don't want to go through all that schooling and go through everything just to find out that 5 years into your job, you're not going to enjoy it. Right. And so I think that job shadow experience is really, really helpful for those kids. And so I think just seeing them so happy with what they want to do, that's the whole point of the MedQuest program, is to just be able to see those kids get so happy over what they hope to be able to do someday with their lives. I mean, even being a counselor and being a student, both of them, whenever I had the experience and was able to talk to those professionals, they were so open with talking about whatever they went through. I mean, you could sit down at their desk for an hour and just ask them questions and they'd be willing to help you however they can. The orthopedic surgeon that I had, between each visit with his patients, we'd go back to his desk and I'd have a million questions that I had to ask him, and he's willing to just sit there and talk to me for however long I can, however long he'll be able to keep me. I know I've had a couple students that even stayed late to their job shadows because they were so into it and just loved it so much. And the professionals there, they were totally willing to keep them and let them stay there as long as they want. I know last year, a couple of students that get pretty lucky, they get to go to be with the firefighters, and they actually get to go out on like drives with them. If there's an emergency, they get to go in the full outfit, and they get to go out in the fire, like in the emergency like firefighting vehicle, or they get to go out into the I can't remember what it's called now, the ambulance. and get to drive with them and like do all these different things that you never imagined you get to do. And that's always a super fun time and a highlight of their day, is getting and going to do all this crazy stuff. And even if their job shadow's done for the day, we've had a couple of the EMTs like call us and say, hey, well, they never got to go out on a drive with us. Bring them back, and the next emergency that we'll have, they'll come out with us just so they have that experience. And so those guys are always really great about, making sure that they have the best experience they can. Last year they had a couple students, a couple girls, get in the full firefighter outfit from like head to toe, helmet, like fireproof, everything. And the suits were way too big for them, but they loved it. And they got to use the jaws of life on this old car that they had as a like a demonstration. So they had this old beat up car and a mannequin, and they brought out the jaws of life and ripped open this door and got the mannequin out. They cut the top of the car out, so you got the demonstration of what you do if the car or if the door wasn't able to open. And I know that was really cool to them because you never imagined to use that giant machinery like that. Or last year they played, what's that game? You pull out the like different, is it Jenga? Where you pull out the different sticks, but they had like 2x4 like giant logs, and they used the jaws of life like that, and you pulled it out with the jaws of life instead of with your fingers. I know everyone really enjoyed that. Just different games like that. They always come up with stuff to do, especially the longer we've done this for, 27 years now. The more that they've come up with these different activities, and they're more and more willing to have everyone back each year. It's become an annual thing at this point. They already expect us to come in, and they enjoy having us. So I think it's a really great thing that our community's kind of embraced the role, and all these professionals have come in and really learned to love the program and love all these students and be able to teach them what these professionals went and learned for 8-12 years, half their life maybe, to put their dedication into this, and now they're willing to teach it onto the younger students. I think that's a really amazing thing.